So in 2022, I ended up with 1,321 laps on 209 different roller coasters, 95 of those being new credits. It's only my third year to top 1,000, and it was only slightly shy of my 2021 total. However, in 2021, I was able to take 3 extra weeks of vacation due to my work allowing extra carryover from 2020. So, with less vacation time, I did more weekend or long weekend trips to parks that are closer to me, and many of those will be reflected in this list. In addition, I took 2 trips to Florida for 5 days each, so they will be well represented. So while my count is almost the same as the previous year, I was able to spread the love around more in 2021. I had 695 laps on my top 20 most ridden, which is over half of my total for the year. My top 10 most ridden total an even 500 rides, which is an average of 50 rides each. Tiebreaker advantages will go in favor of the coaster that I had fewer days at, which you can see reflected in my honorable mentions here. I needed only 1 day for my 16 laps on El Toro, so it ranks ahead of Icebreaker. That's also why Cornball Express is ranked ahead of Montu and Powder Keg. And speaking of coasters at Silver Dollar City and Busch Gardens Tampa, 14th place is Cheetah Hunt at Busch Gardens Tampa with 21 laps. 18 of those came the week of IAPA when Cheetah Hunt was almost a walk-on all week. 13th place is Wildfire at Silver Dollar City with 22 rides over mini visits. Texas Stingray at SeaWorld San Antonio also had 22 rides, but that was in just 3 days, so it takes 12th place. Neither of those rides tend to get long lines. 11th place is Mamba at Worlds of Fun with 25 laps over 3 different trips. It was hauling this year with the mid-course barely hitting, taking it from one of the worst hypers in the past to now one of the best. 10th place is Mako at SeaWorld Orlando with 27 rides over 3 days. The best B&M hyper in the continent rarely gets a long line, and it's one of the smoothest B&Ms, making it so re-rideable. 9th place is Kumba at Busch Gardens Tampa with 35 rides. A very intense ride makes marathons and endurance tests, but it rarely gets a line. I could have gotten plenty more rides, but there was another ride at that park that consumed a lot of my time. We'll get to that much later. 8th place is Lightning Rod at Dollywood with 37 rides over 3 days. I felt very lucky to find this ride with a minimal wait, and it was hauling. My 2021 rides on it were very slow, but my 2022 rides were the best I've ever had on it. And spoiler alert, it'll move way up my overall rankings when I get around to that. 7th place is White Lightning at Fun Spot Orlando with 38 rides over 3 brief stops. It doesn't get a line, and it runs so smooth with good airtime. It is very addictive and so re-rideable. 6th place is Time Traveler at Silver Dollar City with 41 rides over mini visits. A few times I found this with no line, including a couple Sundays when it was a walk-on all day. It typically does get long lines though, so I am surprised to have gotten this many rides, even with so many days at the park. 5th place is Prowler at Worlds of Fun with 43 rides over 3 visits. My first visit had limited time, and my third visit saw Prowler with the longest line in the park, so I'm actually lucky to have gotten 34 rides on the best GCI in the country on my second weekend. In 4th place is Storm Chaser at Kentucky Kingdom with 51 rides over 3 days, and 2 of those were Saturdays. It's amazing how this park doesn't get long lines, allowing you to get as many rides as your body can handle on this extremely powerful RMC. In 3rd place is Outlaw Run at Silver Dollar City with 61 rides. This RMC can ride a bit rough, especially on wheel seats, but that setting can't be beat, and it's one of the best layouts of any coaster. Other than my October visit, where it had the longest line in the park, it usually has a short line, allowing for plenty of rides, and I made so many trips to this park in 2022. 2nd place is Iron Rattler at Six Flags Fiesta Texas with 62 rides over several visits. It was my most ridden coaster of 2021 with 78, so my 2-year total is 140. I was very lucky to get 62 rides in 2022, since they were on one-train ops all year, and this ride is very popular. It's the smoothest coaster in the world, with the best trains in the world, and the forces are great. It's a great setting, so everybody loves it. I only got this many rides because of 2 different ACE events with ERT sessions, as well as the new single rider line. It only beat Outlaw Run by 1 ride, but I also had fewer days here. And my number 1 most ridden coaster for the year obliterated the competition. I don't think anything will ever top this in my lifetime. It is Iron Gwazi at Busch Gardens Tampa with 105 rides on the year. 104 of those came over 6 days on 2 different visits. On all 6 of those days, it was either a walk-on or the line was short. And when you have that with one of the best coasters in the world, it's hard to not keep marathoning it. I had at least 13 rides on all 6 of those days, with 25 being the high mark for a day. I had over 50 rides on both of my Florida trips. This ride truly completes the lineup and makes this park one of the best in the country if it wasn't already. Iron Gwazi is worthy to get the honor of my top spot. You may have noticed that my top 4 were all RMCs. Here's my ride count for all 8 RMCs that I rode this year. So over 1 out of every 4 coaster rides for me this year was on an RMC. But that's it for my list. Let me know in the comments about what your most ridden coasters for the year were. Thank you for watching. I will see you next time.